Hey guys, this is God of Politics, and welcome back to a brand new video. We just hit 326 subscribers. Can we get to the goal of 500 subscribers by election day? Please subscribe to the channel so we can get there. But in today's video, we'll be doing a video that I am doing now twice a month up until the election. We will have 4 more of these. It is now September 15th, and I am doing my updated 2020 Battleground Map between Joe Biden and Kamala Harris and Donald Trump and Mike Pence. So getting right into this video, I will start off with the safe states. As always, I'll start off with the safe states for Donald Trump and Mike Pence. That includes Montana, Idaho, Wyoming, North Dakota, South Dakota, Utah, all of Nebraska except for the 2nd District, Kansas, Oklahoma, Arkansas, Louisiana, Missouri, Mississippi, Alabama, Tennessee, Kentucky, Indiana, West Virginia, and South Carolina. So that adds up to 122 safe electoral votes for Donald Trump and Mike Pence. And then for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, I do believe they will win Washington, Oregon, California. And, just to note, again, this is the election based on what the election is like right now, not based on what it will be like come November. I've predicted that in my predictions, which you can check out. It'll be in the cards of this video. But this is based on what the election would be like if it were held today, so it may look a little different than my prediction. So I also will include New Mexico as a safe state for Joe Biden, as well as the normal state of Hawaii, Illinois, Maine's 1st District, New York, Vermont, Massachusetts, Connecticut, Rhode Island, New Jersey, Delaware, Maryland, D.C. So that's 188. Actually, I also will include Virginia in this. Virginia is a state that has been turning blue for quite a while, and I do believe it could crack the safe margin of plus 10 percentage points. So that is 201 electoral votes for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, and then 122 electoral votes for Donald Trump and Mike Pence. Getting into the likely lean and tilt states. First, you may have noticed that I didn't put Alaska as a safe state. I believe, at least for now, it is a likely state. In 2016, Donald Trump won this state by 14 percentage points. That's actually not that much. Many people think Donald Trump won it very, by a lot more than that, but he only won it by 14 percentage points. And the actual, Republican strongholds are in these more, I guess you could say, urban areas of Alaska. And so I do believe that Joe Biden may be able to gain a little bit in the state of Alaska, especially since he's leading more nationally, and that will narrowly push it into the likely column. And that is actually all of these the likely margin states, I believe, at least for right now. And then getting into the likely margin states for the Democrats, I believe Colorado is a likely margin state for the Democrats. It's a state that's been trending to the Democrats for a while, ever since Bush won it back in 2004. It's also a state that I believe, Democrats have a lot of room to gain in areas like the Colorado Springs area, even the Denver suburbs as well. And so I believe that they will continue to do that. It's been evident in all levels of government, House races, governor races, state legislature. And I believe that this trend will continue, giving Joe Biden a likely to safe margin of victory as of now. I also believe Nevada is in the safe column. Nevada is a state where people talk about how it has a high Latino population, but as you saw in my video yesterday, if you saw the video, if Joe Biden's struggling with Hispanics, Hispanics only make up 18% of the electorate in Nevada. So, losing a couple percent amongst, that electorate won't necessarily mean much, especially if you're gaining amongst whiter voters, which, if you're believing the polls, Joe Biden is. So I'm going to put that state in the likely margin now. Polls have, historically underestimated Democrats there, and the polls show, Joe Biden's winning by 6-7 percentage points there, so I will be putting that in the likely margin for Joe Biden. I also do believe that, at least for right now, New Hampshire is in the likely margin. Polls in 2016 were actually very accurate in the state of New Hampshire, predicted Hillary Clinton winning by 0.6, she won by 0.3, and none of the polls are predicting her winning by, 7, 8, 9 percentage points, depending on what site you look at. But New Hampshire is a state that I do believe Joe Biden will be able to win quite easily, at least at this point in the race. Maine at large is the final one that I do believe he will be able to win by a likely margin. In 2016, Hillary Clinton won this by 3 percentage points. So Joe Biden doesn't necessarily need to even improve that much in Maine's 2nd District or even Maine's 1st District to be able to win Maine's 2nd District, or should I say lose Maine's 2nd District, but win Maine at large by a likely margin. So that is all the likely margin states at this point in time in the election. Joe Biden totals up to 222 electoral votes. Donald Trump and Mike Pence total up to 125 electoral votes. Actually, I will narrowly add Minnesota to this list because we have had, 4 polls that have showed Biden up by 8 or 9 percentage points. And to assume that they're going to be that off, I wouldn't necessarily count on that. So at least for now, I will put this in the likely margin. Also, you do have suburban trends that are in Joe Biden's favor. And, you had things like the riots and that, which may help Joe Biden, just due to the fact that Donald Trump's president, his riot response was not very popular. And that may make an impact in the state of Minnesota. So 232 electoral votes for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, 125 for Donald Trump and Mike Pence. Getting to these lean margin states first. I believe Texas is a lean margin state. This is a state where you have suburban trends. You have a lot of these congressional districts that are in play. In the Dallas suburbs, San Antonio suburbs, Houston suburbs, Austin suburbs, many big cities in this state, whereas Republicans are really maxed out in a lot of these rural areas, so there's not much room to gain. So really, putting it in a lean margin isn't even that much of a stretch. It's what the polls showed, and the polls historically underestimate Democrats. So, we'll see about the state of Texas, although I do expect Donald Trump and Mike Pence to still be able to win it. Ohio and Iowa, I also do believe are two states that will go to Donald Trump and Mike Pence. These are states that, trended really far to the right in 2016 as opposed to 2012. But then in 2018, Democrats won a Senate election here in Ohio by 6 points. They won the popular vote in the House races as well. So Democrats can do a little bit better here, and the polls have shown it actually quite close. Joe Biden's winning in the polls in Ohio. He had a pretty good poll, the gold standard of Iowa polls, Des Moines Register, showing him only losing by 1 in the state of Iowa. And while I don't think he'll win them, I think he'll lose both of these by around 4 percentage points. And then the last state, or districts, I should say, that is going to be a lean Republican state is Maine's 2nd District. Maine's 2nd District did trend really far to the right in 2016 and went to Donald Trump by just above 10 percentage points, but the polls we've seen have showed Joe Biden actually winning in many cases. Obama won this district, and it is very rural, but Joe Biden's been doing better with white working class voters. He did better here in the primary, and I do expect that to play out well, more... in a more positive light for him in Maine's 2nd District, at least at this point in time. Now, lean margin states for the Democrats. First, I do believe actually Arizona is a lean margin state for the Democrats. And you may say that this map is too pro-Biden, but this is based off of, right now. And the polls, which were accurate in 2016 in the state of Arizona and actually underestimated Democrats in 2018, the polls in Arizona, are pretty good for Joe Biden. We've had, plus 10 for Biden, plus 9 for Biden in Fox News, plus 3 for Biden in CBS. So the polls are looking pretty good for him right now. And I'd narrowly put this in the lead margin, probably just above 2 percentage points. But having Mark Kelly at the top of the ticket is also going to help him down ballot. And I do believe that's a state that he can, or I guess up ballot the presidential race. And I guess that will help him, win it by a lean margin. Nebraska's second. I also do believe going by a lean margin. This is a very suburban district. I've talked about this before. There's a lot of college-educated voters. I may make a video about this. More college-educated voters than any other swing state, 9% higher at 39% than the second most, educated state, which is Pennsylvania. So, that will make an impact on the race in Nebraska's 2nd District. It's part of that big trend towards the Democrats, and I do believe since it's such a localized district in a suburban area with not many conflicting trends, I do believe it will trend towards the Democrats, and Joe Biden, at least for now, will win it by a lean margin. I also believe Michigan will go by a lean margin. Michigan is a state where the polls have not been too, we haven't had too many polls lately, and Joe Biden hasn't necessarily had that much in the polls. And, if you're looking at the map, it looks like Donald Trump should be able to gain areas in these rural areas, but then you're counting on the fact that Joe Biden did a lot better here in the primary than Hillary Clinton, who struggled in all of the rural areas with working class voters. Joe Biden's projected to do better, amongst key demographics, and I do expect that to play out for him better. I do believe kind of Michigan was sort of a fluke. In the future, maybe more of a red state, but at least for now, I do believe it's going to flip back towards the Democrats. Another state is Pennsylvania. I do believe going by a lean margin. We've had some polls here showing close. We had a Monmouth poll showing it within 2, or at 2. And so Joe Biden's lead is not that strong here, but I do believe that, the fundamentals of this state plus the polling data is going to give him a slight advantage, and that will narrowly give him a lean margin of victory. And then that is all the lean margin states. Joe Biden and Kamala Harris have already crossed the 280 mark. Donald Trump and Mike Pence are at 188. Pennsylvania in this scenario is the tipping point state. Now, getting into these tilt margin states, I do believe Florida, Georgia, and North Carolina are all tilt margin states, these Sunbelt southern states here. Now, Florida, the fundamentals of the state are pretty red state, Republican governor, Republican state legislature, a lot of Republican congressional districts, Donald Trump's home state now. And when Michael Bloomberg just put $100 million in the state, it may not necessarily make an impact. People will make decisions on their own. The polls are showing it quite close in 2016, that, very close polls, which showed Donald Trump winning, actually narrowly went in favor of Donald Trump, but this state could really go either way. Now, Georgia is the state I've been labeling as the dark horse for a while. I made a video about this that you should check out. It's way down on my channel, but I do believe this is the dark horse state because you have a lot of suburban trends for the Democrats and not much room to gain in the rural areas for Republicans. And the suburban areas are the biggest areas of the state. So I do believe that Joe Biden will be able to gain a lot of these rural areas, and he only has to trend, 4 points to be down into the tilt margin. And I do believe Joe Biden will be able to do that, losing it by around 1 percentage point. North Carolina is also going to be razor thin. We actually had a new Trafalgar poll showing Trump ahead by 2, Cunningham ahead by 1, and Trafalgar in 2016 overestimated Democrats by, overestimated Republicans by 1.6 percentage points. So this is really razor thin. At least for right now. There's a lot of conflicting trends. You have suburban trends in areas like Mecklenburg County, the Raleigh suburbs, the Winston-Salem suburbs, and then you have rural trends that are trending towards the Republicans. And so I do believe those conflicting trends are, at least in this election, going to help Democrats, but will it be enough? I don't think so necessarily for now. And then finally, the tilt margin state for the Democrats, I do believe Wisconsin. Wisconsin's going to be a very close state. Democrats did flip the governorship here in 2016, in 2018. They won the state legislature, the popular vote in 2018 as well. They narrowly lost it in 2016. The polls are very good for them in 2020, but again, in 2016, they were quite off as well, but there's less undecided voters this time. So, there's many factors going into this state, but I do believe that Joe Biden, at least right now, is narrowly ahead, but really this thing could change. Wisconsin is going to be a very interesting state. It's going to be one of the closest states along with Florida and North Carolina, so we'll see how that ends up turning up come election day. So this is my overall map: 290 electoral votes for Joe Biden and Kamala Harris, 248 electoral votes for Donald Trump and Mike Pence. This could change. It will change. That's why I will keep updating it. My next Battleground Map will be on October 1st, then October 15th, and then right before the election. So thank you all for watching this video. Please like this video and subscribe to the channel. Also join the Discord that is linked down in the description. So again, guys, thank you all for watching this video, and I will see you guys later.